Any fire on board poses a threat to the safety of the ship and crew. However, by far the most dangerous is a machinery space fire. Machinery space fires are the biggest single reason for the total loss of ships and their cargo. This program looks at the causes of machinery space fires, shows how they can be prevented, and demonstrates how to tackle them. The rule is, if the crew cannot bring the fire under control quickly, then the fixed installation must be used sooner rather than later. With an abundance of heat, air, and fuel, machinery spaces contain all the elements needed to start a fire and sustain it. And because the engine room is at the heart of a vessel, once a fire gets hold here, it spreads rapidly, taking only minutes before the fire is completely out of control. With such potential for total disaster, naval architects build in a considerable degree of safety at the design stage. The aim is threefold: to reduce the likelihood of fires starting, to prevent them spreading, and to provide effective methods to contain and extinguish the fire before it can endanger the seaworthiness of the vessel. These measures include running electrical cables through ducts to shield them from heat in the event of a fire, installing splash panels and double-skinned pipes to protect hot surfaces from high-pressure pipe failure, fitting insulation to retard the spread of fire and to provide additional protection for crew accommodation and cargo spaces, providing fireproof doors, airtight hatches, and individually controlled ventilation dampers to seal off the machinery space and deprive the fire of air. Finally, if all else fails, there is the fixed installation. This system is designed to extinguish a fire within a very short space of time. The fixed installation varies from ship to ship. Some vessels carry carbon dioxide, CO2. In an enclosed space, this gas will smother a fire by starving it of oxygen. Medium and high expansion foam works in a similar way. As an additional backup system, high fog delivers microscopic droplets of water that disperse heat and rapidly cool the fire. It has the added benefit of smothering the flames. From the outset, these safety features are there to protect the vessel and its crew. However, their effectiveness depends on regular inspection, maintenance, and testing. Mariners who ignore these tasks do so at considerable risk to themselves and their fellow crew members. Machinery space fires can be loosely grouped into 5 types: oil mist and crankcase explosions, uptake, funnel, economizer, and superheater fires, scavenge fires, fires caused by electrical problems, and switchboard fires involving high current. Though each results from a combination of different circumstances, machinery space fires don't just happen. They occur because heat, air and fuel have been allowed to combine to create combustion. Most engine room fires are caused by fractured high-pressure oil lines. There are, however, other possible sources of ignition. The obvious ones include sparks from angle grinders and welding equipment. The hot, dry atmosphere is ideal for the build-up of static charges. Engines, pumps, and other machinery generate heat. These hot surfaces can also vaporize flammable liquids, changing a safe product into an unstable, combustible gas. Every ship has a regular program of maintenance. In a machinery space, each repair carries a potential fire risk. For instance, removing the protective lagging exposes hot surfaces and creates a source of ignition. If left unattended, even for a coffee break, then it could be the cause of a fire. Temporary repairs using non-standard components or those that do not meet the specification produce the conditions for a fire to happen. These dangers are very real. Machinery space fires are always serious, and you must take every precaution to avoid them happening. Following laid-down working practices will minimize these hazards and keep the vessel and her crew safe. Good housekeeping makes sense. Ensure that you have the proper tools and authorization before starting a job. Whether it's a hot work permit or arranging the temporary isolation of oil or electrical feeds, these procedures are there for a reason. They significantly reduce the risk of something going wrong. Test the fire alarms and replace any components that are faulty. Inspect fire extinguishers at the intervals recommended in the manufacturer's instructions. And always recharge after use. The fixed installation should be checked too. This may include sonic testing of fire extinguishing gas content in the cylinders, the inspection of mechanical linkages, and periodic testing by taking foam samples. The importance of regular, realistic fire drills can never be underestimated. Machinery space fires can generate a lot of dense smoke. Exercises should include search and rescue for injured personnel in these conditions. In a fire, fear and panic can make even the best trained crew member act against their own best interests. In thick smoke, it is easy to lose your bearings and move closer to danger rather than away from it. Fire can break out on the best maintained vessel,
Come forward now.
even those run by the most professional of crews. If the fire occurs in the engine room, temperatures can quickly rise to more than 600 degrees Celsius. within minutes, the fire may turn into a raging inferno, crippling the vessel, or at worse, leading to her total loss. Level-headed, considered judgment is vital. From the sounding of the alarm, you may have very little time before the fire is out of control. Modern ships equipped with automatic fire sensors can detect a developing fire in its earliest stages. Just because you cannot see smoke or flames, you should never treat the fire signal as a false alarm. Follow your training when dealing with a fire emergency. Find it, isolate it, report it, and extinguish it.
Close the fuel lines and shut down the pumps.
The first task is to cut off the flow of fuel to the fire. Evacuate unnecessary crew members from the machinery space. From the engine room, this will often involve using the escape trunking. Use the protected escape route rather than the normal vertical routes. Smoke and heat rise, creating greater dangers the higher you go. It is essential that everyone goes to their muster stations. The first task of the officer in charge is to carry out a roll call.
Yes, sir.
At all times, effective command and control will coordinate the firefighting and support teams to maximize their efforts.
Shut down the engine.
The master and the chief engineer need accurate and up-to-date information. The master, the chief engineer, and the team leaders monitor the spread and intensity of the fire minute by minute. The most sensible approach is one shot and out. The teams have only a limited time in which to gain control over the fire. If they cannot effectively extinguish it, then the master or the officer in charge must decide to use the fixed installation sooner rather than later. Time is still needed to clear the machinery space and evacuate the firefighting teams. As soon as everyone is out and accounted for with a full roll call, batten down all the hatches, fireproof doors, and all engine room and funnel vents. Once the machinery space is sealed, the master orders the release of the fixed installation. This will have an immediate effect. However, it's essential that the fixed installation is given time to work. This could be as long as a few days. Although the fire is extinguished, you must allow time for it to cool down, so there is no chance of reignition. Many masters, quite rightly, see the fixed installation as a method of last resort. Although this is true, for machinery space fires, other options may be severely limited. The timely use of the fixed installation will, in nearly every case, extinguish a machinery space fire and preserve the ship. On board ship, all fires are dangerous. But a machinery space fire is potentially the most serious of all. Observing good working practices minimizes the risks. Frequent and realistic fire drills keep everyone prepared. But ultimately, fire safety requires that all mariners stay observant and stick to company procedures. This video-tell program is part of a series of 5 on firefighting at sea. Program 1 deals with fire prevention. Program 2 with basic firefighting. Program 3 deals with command and control at the incident. And Program 4 covers command and control from the bridge.